Science and philosophy. The Ptolemaic kings were highly educated. They encouraged the study of sciences and literature at the Great Library of Alexandria. Many people who came to work at the library did not study and work in one field of knowledge. They could be scientists, as well as mathematicians, astronomers, and geographers. Euclid. One of the most important mathematicians of the ancient world was Euclid. Although he was Greek, but he was born and worked in Alexandria. Euclid is famous for his 13 books of mathematics called Elements and for his theories of geometry. Archimedes. Perhaps the most famous scientist who came to study in Alexandria was Archimedes. One of his most famous inventions, called Archimedes' screw, was probably invented while he was in Alexandria and is still used today. This machine lifts liquids such as water from a lower level to a higher level. It is especially used by farmers to irrigate the crops. Archimedes is believed used mirrors to reflect the sun's rays to set fire to enemy ships. Heron the inventor. Another famous mathematician was Heron of Alexandria. He is an inventor. He invented the first ever steam engine, called an eolipile. It worked by heating water to create steam. When the water was heated inside a sphere with two pipes, the escaping steam caused the sphere to rotate. This machine is the true beginning of the modern steam engines. Alexandrian medicine. Medicine was another science was studied in Alexandria. Many important medical discoveries were made by doctors who studied anatomy, the structure of the human body. Physiology, the way the body works. Such Herophilus and Galen. Also they developed the medicine for the diseases. Astronomy. The ancient Egyptians were interested in astronomy. Then, the Greeks who settled in Alexandria also studied the stars and planets. One of the most important sciences in the city. Some of their discoveries are still with us today. One of the most famous scientists of the time, who was an astronomer, mathematician, an inventor, and even a poet, was Eratosthenes. He is the first man to calculate the Earth's circumference. The astronomer Aristarchus of Samos was the first to develop a heliocentric theory of the universe. The sun is at the center of the universe and the planets travel around it. This idea was rejected, however. Instead, people followed the idea of geocentric for another Alexandrian astronomer, Claudius Ptolemy, who believed that the Earth was at the center of the universe. But in 17th century heliocentric theory was once again put forward by Galileo. Then modern science has proven that he was right. Philosophy. Hypatia of Alexandria was a mathematician, astronomer and philosopher. She was taught by her father, Theon, who was a famous mathematician and the last recorded member of the Mouseion of Alexandria. Hypatia was the author of books on geometry, algebra, and astronomy, and became a famous teacher much admired by her students. As a highly respected teacher and philosopher, she was often consulted by the Roman prefect of Alexandria, Orestes. However, she became the object of rumors, accused of magic and witchcraft. Until one day a mob attacked her and dragged her through the streets of Alexandria. Hypatia was murdered for her faith. Her body was torn to pieces. In addition to the sciences, many other subjects were studied in ancient Alexandria, such poetry, philosophy, and history. The Ptolemies were great admirers of the ancient Greek poet Homer especially, who lived in about 800 BCE. These kings encouraged poets in Alexandria to study Homer as well as to write their own poetry. Theocritus. During the Ptolemaic period there were many poets in Alexandria who write poetry to flatter the king. However, one poet who was different called Theocritus. In addition to the usual poems to please the king and queen, he also wrote poems about the life of normal people. Philo. The study of philosophy was to become more important in Alexandria during the Roman period. Philosophy was interested with people's beliefs about life. The most famous philosopher was an Alexandrian Jew called Philo. He came from a wealthy family and was educated both in the Jewish religious tradition and in Greek Platonic philosophy. Philo was unique because he was the first person to mix religious with philosophy. Manetho. The priest and historian Manetho was one of the few native Egyptians who held an important position at the royal court of the Ptolemies. Most court positions were held by Greeks at that time. As an Egyptian priest, Manetho had access to the temple libraries. Moreover, he can read and write hieroglyphic easily and allowed to get secret documents kept in these temples. This helped him to write about Egypt's ancient history. He also wrote a famous list of all the kings of Egypt in Greek language. This valuable kings list is still used today by people who study Egypt's ancient history, Egyptologists.